All right, if you're running a small business, I'm willing to bet cybersecurity is on your mind. But what if I told you that the threats you're actually worried about, they're just the tip of the iceberg? Today, we're going to dive deep into that other 90% of the risk that's lurking just out of sight.
So let me just ask you this straight up. You've got antivirus, you've got a firewall, you probably feel like you've checked that box, right? Like, yep, we're covered. And look, I get it, that's a totally reasonable thought, but it's also a really dangerous one.
Because here's the thing. Those tools, they're absolutely important, don't get me wrong, but they only deal with the stuff you can see. The real reality is that the biggest, scariest risks to your business, they're lurking completely out of sight, just below the surface.
So let's really get into this idea. We're calling it the cybersecurity iceberg, and it's a super powerful way to completely reframe how you think about risk. It'll help you get past just, don't get hacked, and start to understand the whole picture.
Okay, so it breaks down like this. You've got the stuff above the water, those are the visible threats, right? The attacks you hear about on the news. But then, there's everything below the water, and that is where the real danger is. We're talking about the quiet, slow burn problems that you often don't even see until it's way, way too late.
All right, let's start with the familiar stuff, the things you probably already know about. These are the attacks that are loud, they're obvious, and they get all the headlines. And yeah, they're a problem, but they are only one small part of the story. You've seen these a million times, right? Phishing emails, pretending to be invoices, malware that comes from some sketchy download, or just the general risk of your team browsing unsafe websites. Think of these as the front doors that attackers are constantly trying to kick in. And then, of course, the big one, ransomware. It's the attack everyone is terrified of. Your files get locked, your whole business grinds to a halt. It's a nightmare. But here's the most important thing you need to understand. Ransomware isn't the start of the attack. It's the big, dramatic finale of a much longer, much quieter story. And this, right here, tells that story perfectly. Just look, it doesn't start with some massive bang. Nope, it starts with one single click on a phishing link. That one click leads to stolen credentials, which then lets an attacker get into an email account. From there, they can start committing fraud, and only then, at the very, very end, do they drop the ransomware. You see? Each step just sets up the next one.
Okay, now let's go below the surface. This is the part of the iceberg that actually sinks ships. We're talking about the silent killers. These are the problems that build up over time with zero alarms, zero warnings, and honestly, they're the single biggest vulnerability for most small businesses out there.
So first on the list is something called credential stuffing. Here's how it works. Criminals get these massive lists of usernames and passwords from old data breaches. From that old social media site you haven't used in 10 years? They take that list and then they use automated software to just try those exact same logins on everything else. Your email, your accounting software, you name it.
And this is the part that should really scare you. When one of your employees reuses a password, the bad guys aren't hacking you. There's no genius-level code breaking going on here. They are literally just logging in. It's like they found your front door key lying on the sidewalk and they're just walking right in.
And once they're inside an email account, they do something absolutely terrifying. They do nothing. For a while, they just sit there and watch. They learn the rhythm of your business. They figure out who you pay and how you pay them. They set up these sneaky, hidden forwarding rules to get a copy of every invoice. And then, only when the time is perfect, they strike. They send a fake invoice that looks 100% real. And just like that, they divert thousands of dollars before you even have a clue what just happened.
Okay, let's get personal for a second. Think about your office right now. Could you, this very second, name every single device that's connected to your Wi-Fi? And I don't just mean the computers and phones. I'm talking every printer, every security camera, every smart thermostat, and yeah, every single guest's phone.
Because here's the deal. Every single one of those devices is a potential doorway into your network. That old printer you have sitting in the corner that hasn't had an update in 5 years, that's a doorway. A guest's personal phone connected to the same Wi-Fi as your main server, that is a huge risk. And most businesses are just completely blind to all of it.
And believe me, these hidden risks just keep piling on. You've got tiny configuration mistakes that accidentally leave a backdoor wide open. You've got unapproved apps, what we call shadow IT, that your employees are using, leaking data without anyone having a clue. And then there's lateral movement. That's when an attacker gets into one device and then just quietly spreads, like a virus, across your entire network.
Okay, I know that was a lot of scary stuff, so let's take a breath. The good news is, You absolutely do not have to be a tech genius to defend your business. There is a practical, super straightforward plan you can follow. Think of this as your lifeline.
It's a simple 4-step blueprint. First up, you block malicious websites before they can even be reached. Number 2, you identify every single device on your network so you're not flying blind. Third, you separate your devices. Guests and smart devices should never be on the same network as your critical work computers. And last but not least, you secure your most important accounts using multi-factor authentication, or MFA.
All right, to really bring this all home, let's do a quick reality check. I want you to be totally honest with yourself as we run through these next 5 questions. Your answers are going to tell you exactly how much of your iceberg is hiding underwater right now.
Question 1. Do you know every single device that's on your network today?
Number 2, are guest devices and all those smart gadgets totally isolated from your core work computers?
Question 3. Are phishing sites and other malicious websites blocked across your whole network automatically, or are you just crossing your fingers and hoping no one clicks on the wrong thing?
Number 4, are your router and all your other network protections staying updated automatically, or is it more of a set it and forget it situation?
And finally, maybe the most important question of all. If an attacker was quietly sitting inside your network, watching everything, would you even notice that unusual behavior before it turns into a full-blown crisis? Look, if you couldn't confidently answer yes to all of those, you are definitely not alone. And that really brings us to the final point I want to leave you with. The goal here isn't perfect security. That's impossible. The real goal is just having fewer bad weeks. It's about taking smart, manageable steps to get ahead of the risk so you can keep your business focused on what you actually do best.